Hi. So I actually printed off some thoughts. As some of you, my friends especially, may know, I can get a little distracted, the ADD nature. Um, and so I wanted to have a little bit more cogent and coherent thoughts. I also wanted to make sure that we don't get distracted by the inauguration today and understand that the fight is just starting, especially with Trump's cabinet picks, especially here in Utah. I mean, consider some of the things that Orrin Hatch said and the ramifications of what that could bring about. For instance, when he was talking to Betsy DeVos, he specifically said that she has exemplified some of the best abilities and that he couldn't think of anyone more qualified to be the Secretary of Education. That is pretty ridiculous to me. Um, he had said she's beyond qualified. The only thing I saw in her hearing was total ineptitude. Her lack of knowing anything, even reasonably associated with education, protections for minorities or the disabled, her desire to run for the education department, not being able to answer Al Franken's questions about growth or proficiency, scares the crap out of me. That's fine if you don't know what that is, if you're a regular person, but if you want to be essentially the CEO of a company, you better know how that company freaking operates. Hatch thinks her profound abilities are exemplified in her ability to make asinine remarks regarding grisly attacks and why we need guns in schools. Yeah, that same school built a wall. That's how they keep clear of grisly attacks. Is they built a wall. Her ability to pay $200 million over the years, along with her family, to further line the golden pockets of not just Orrin Hatch, but the rest of the GOP, as Senator Sanders, Bernie Sanders specifically pointed out, is more than likely the real reason why she's even a candidate, which is pretty disgusting. And with that, meanwhile, she looks to gut public education. She wants to create a voucher system for charity schools. Many of those charities have been investigated that they're failing ideas, that they aren't even working, but still pay to them anyway. Oh, and taxpayers can pay for that, so they'll rob from you in order to give to the rich, because socialism is alive and well. It's just corporate welfare. They take from the poor and give to the rich. It is the reverse Robin Hood. And it's pretty disgusting that Orrin Hatch thinks that this is in line with Utah values. It blows my mind that somebody who would say that he is this devout Christian, that these Christian values are of what guide his calculus, is what would then lead him to say that Betsy DeVos is in any way qualified. I mean, if you actually read the Bible, which I have many times over, Jesus specifically said it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is a rich man to get into heaven. Well, Christians believe in the dichotomy of heaven and hell. So if you can't get into heaven, I'm pretty sure that there's only one other place to go in that dichotomy. So for him to further his golden pockets, and for Jesus, somebody who specifically overturned the money changers' tables in the synagogues and the churches, money changers were bankers. It blows my mind that these same Pharisees, if you're not familiar with that term, Pharisee, look it up. But these same Pharisees then try to make us feel bad when we can barely provide for our families, when it's hard to put bellies, or hard to put food in the bellies of our families, hard to provide opportunities for our kids. And when we bring that up, they say, well, wealth redistribution is evil. Wealth redistribution is socialism, except for the fact that big corporate America has turned into the Walmart regime, where Walmart, studies show that each Walmart per year costs the taxpayers $900,000 to $1.7 million. That comes in the form of government assistance, whether it be welfare, whether it be food stamps. Also consider that the Walton family, not only do they own, 6 people own as much money as 100 million Americans, people like Orrin Hatch enable them and encourage them to hide their money overseas, so then it doesn't get taxed, and then we pick up the tax burden. So we are paying for the welfare for them to pay an overwhelming number of their employees and the food stamps, so they can pay them indentured servitude wages. So we pick up the tab so they can actually survive. And then they hide their money overseas, so then we pick up the tab on that too, and we take that tax burden. And then, oh my gosh, guess where the overwhelming majority of those food stamps are spent? At Walmart. This is wealth redistribution, folks. Just because you want an opportunity for your family does not mean that you are looking for a handout. It means you're looking for a fair system, a level playing field. Look, I'm not going to discourage anyone for being an entrepreneur and making it rich because they saw a vacuum and filled it in society. And I love capitalism for that. But that's also why I really like democratic socialism, is because it makes sure that it protects the middle class and the working class and the poor, so that they aren't subject to just the overwhelming greed and corporate agenda, the fascist corporate agenda. And I know fascist has been thrown around a lot, and I apologize if that causes you to disengage, but consider, in a nutshell, fascism simply means that the government is accountable to corporations. Corporations now will write bills. They'll write a 1,000-page bill, and they'll push it through the legislative process in sometimes a matter of hours. I don't know about you. Some of you who may have grown up along the same lines or same time frame that I did back in the 80s, you've probably seen Short Circuit. Yeah, Johnny Five is alive. I don't read like Johnny Five. I don't read like Short Circuit. I can't read a 1,000-page bill in a matter of minutes or hours or even days to have an understanding, a comprehensive understanding of what it means. And those same corporations will line the pockets, imagine that, further line the golden pockets of people like Orrin Hatch to get these bills put into effect. And it's oh my gosh, it's so disgusting. It's disgusting that so many people also will rabidly fight for that opportunity. Bernie Sanders wants change, as much as Hillary Clinton by no means is a disgusting person as Donald Trump. She is part of the corporate establishment. You may disagree with me there. I don't want to disparage you and beat you over the head. There's plenty of information to look up there, but Bernie is simply looking out for the little guy. For too long, Democrats, unfortunately, have put themselves in the position of being the only means of defense through multinational corporations that exploit their workers, and that concerns me. So as much as I'm scared of the GOP, as much as I'm scared of the rabid dog that is going to come and get us, I'm more scared of the fact that corporate Democrats want to put themselves as the only line of defense. Because if I know that there's a rabid dog coming after me, I have a pretty good idea what a rabid dog can do. But what I don't know is if I have a line of defense and it's weak and it's lackluster and it's milquetoast, I don't know when it's going to capitulate. I don't know when it's going to cave in. And that's going to leave me vulnerable. I don't want to be caught with my pants down when there's a rabid dog. I want a secure line of defense. And that's where the progressive movement comes in and shines, as far as I'm concerned. So this is why I am very much an espoused progressive. These are my ideas. Maybe you think they're dumb. I'd love to hear what you think of them. Maybe you think they're great ideas. I'd love to hear what you think of those as well. Ultimately, I think that we need to be able to accept a difference of opinion, flesh out where we have overlapping similarities and commonalities, figure out how we can come together. Hell, as progressive as I am, I've worked in factories in Indiana, I've worked in the oil fields in Vernal, Utah, I've driven as an over-the-road truck driver for Swift, I've lived in Roosevelt, Utah, which is pretty darn rural. I've been to 46 of the 50 states. I've been to Kosovo, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Germany, Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar, UAE. So by no means, just because I've been other places, does it mean that my ideas are going to inherently be more right than yours. But it means that I may have a deeper perspective than somebody who has never left Utah. And I think that my deeper perspective has allowed me to celebrate the collective humanity that I've seen throughout the world. And ultimately, that's what I see again in the progressive movement, is a celebration of humanity as it combats the celebration of money that only multinational corporations seem to really care about. But power of the people, guys. Thanks. Bye.